Well, good afternoon, everybody. I'm not General Higer or Chief Ward-Swanigan. My name is Crosby Shateri, and I'm the Deputy Director of Public Affairs here at Edwards Air Force Base. And today we're doing something a little bit different, where we're going to be highlighting the all-new Edwards Air Force Base app, kind of going through some of the features that we have here, and then taking your guys' questions. We've been working on this app for about 2 or 3 months now. There it is on the screen. So we're excited to be bringing it to you guys and letting you guys know about the features that it has, but also the opportunities that this app has to grow as things kind of go on. So if you guys have any questions along the way, you guys can shoot them to 707-412-8922. That's 707-412-8922. And we can answer those live. And if I can't, I'll just cry and not be able to answer them. And we'll just, have fun, I guess, along the way, maybe. I don't know. All right. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of walk you guys through it, kind of show you guys what the features as my phone locks on me. There we go. And then, again, if you guys have questions along the way, we'll have some fun with it. So where do you guys launch the app? You guys can here see the main thing. We do have an opt-in option where you guys can actually create a profile. So you see a picture of me with my call sign up there. And what this does is allows you to access a few different features that are within the app, and then you guys can kind of mess around with stuff. So as you can see in the first window we have here, for those of you guys who want to play along, it actually is available on the iTunes and Google Play Store. So if you guys want to download it for either your iOS device or your Android device, it is available. So iPad, iPhone, Android, Pixel, everything. We've got it in all the stores. We actually also have a desktop version, which we don't have queued up, but there's a desktop version of it that you guys can use as well. So if you guys don't want to have it on your phone, it's actually going to be edwards.af.mil/app, and you guys can go there, and you guys will actually be able to play along too if you're at a desktop, which is kind of cool. All right, so jumping back into the app here, you'll see on the main page, starting off the Commander's Corner. We have a special section here dedicated to those who want to talk directly to Brigadier General Higer, which is the Speak to CC button. So you can see in here, quick little feedback. It is anonymous, which is nice, so that you don't have to worry about if you're saying something that's that you're afraid of. There may be some kind of repercussions or anything like that. Everything is sent anonymously to a folder, so that nobody knows who it came from. Nobody knows what happened. So if there's something that you have that's pressing or you want to know, you can shoot them a message straight right there. Also going down here, up, is the commentary. Is there anything that General Higer has written or anybody across the base has written, we're shoving in here. Any special one-off types contents are flowing in here. Kind of going around here, we also have bios. So I know a lot of people have questions about who is this commander? Hey, this new person just started. I want to know some more information about there. So this first little section here, we have the top section here, so you can learn more about Brigadier General Higer. So you hear his whole entire plethora of information he has, all of his awards, his what he's done. Same thing with Laz, Chief Ward-Swanigan, Dano, all of that kind of stuff in there as well. And then also our MSG, they were the brave ones to shove their their faces and their names here, so you can learn about all of our MSG leadership, who they are, what they're about, and making sure that you know more about them and who they are. So when you're meeting them, talking to them, being a part of who they are, you'll know a little bit about their history. Moving along too, we have our videos. So our live video is actually here. It's probably going to start playing. I'll mute it out. But you can see we've got our live videos in here as well. So you can see our demo here actually going live as we speak, which is kind of neat. So getting out of that. Also, all the videos that we actually produce, you can find in here as well. So all of our live streams are here, past videos that we've produced. You can see it's quite an extensive list of videos that we've had here. So if you've missed anything along the way, you can jump over there and click around and see everything in there. So that's kind of it for the Commander's Corner section. Now, this was probably one of my favorite ones, is the dining, because there's always a question of where is this, where is that, I want to eat this, I want to see this. So we have all of our listing here of food. So, Wingstop, hey, we're a mile away because we're actually so close to Wingstop, which is very exciting. So anything, you're going to have our hours on there. The website, how to order their good stuff. So, and like anything, we're 3 minutes away from a, wonderful Wingstop here on base, which is nice. I eat there way too often, which is terrible for my insides, but it's a good place, I guess. So any questions? Are we assuming we're flying 0 on questions? All right. So yeah, you guys have any questions along the way? 707-412-8922. I'm a blabbermouth, so I can just talk all day. So please ask questions, or if not, I'm just going to start singing and dancing. It's going to be uncomfortable for a lot of different people. But yeah, so you have all their dining options in there. Moving on to FSS. So we've actually added in their changes to HPCon Bravo, their calendar. We have their Facebook pages, their facilities, their newsletters. So every time FSS actually sends out a new e-blast, it automatically feeds into the app. So then as you go along, you want to see what's going on. So hey, we got Family Paint Night, Halloween How, and more coming on. So you can actually see the details of these. So you don't have to worry about being next to your computer. You don't have to worry about having your device with you. You can, no matter where you are, you can access this information. Let's see what else we got here. The calendar is very nice as well, so that we can, if it'll load, there we go. So we can always see what's coming up, what FSS is doing, the events that are taking place on base. The nice thing is you can also, when you click on it, you can add it to your calendar as well. So you can feed it in, make sure that it has the details there that you want, if it'll work. And now the rest of the crew is slowly rolling in here so that I don't have to keep blabbing.
Got it all done, right?
Oh, we're done. We're set. We've gone through the whole entire app. We're good to go.
Nice, man. That's a good looking jacket.
I had to dress up. I wanted to make sure I looked sharp. But yeah, so here's the calendar. I'm on the calendar portion of the app right now. I've gone through the commander section where people can learn more about you guys. And then also, they're the facilities. And this is also important. There's a lot of questions regarding, hey, where is this on base? How do I access this? Where are the directions to that? Hey, I want to be able to see this, do this. So if you go under FSS's facilities, you can actually see every single location that FSS runs or is a part of. You can get more information. So I want to learn more about, let's see, the grill, or something, the grill, the fitness center. So here's all the information about it. I want to contact them. I can get more information about it. I can hit their website, or I can get directions. So I don't know where it's at. I can drive there. So that's really exciting here. Let's see. Moving on to the next thing, helping agencies. This is also super important as well. All the different helping agencies on base. We have a lot that can take care of you. So if you have questions, concerns about anything, there's a whole laundry list of locations here that you can kind of choose from. But again, everything's a click away. You can jump right into it, contact. Hey, I want to go into it. I want to learn more about it. I want to see more things about it. So anything you need, as General Higer's always said, the one-stop shop to the one app to rule them all is what he says. So making sure that you have everything at your fingertips was super important to him. It's also important to us to make sure that you guys have what you guys need. Another awesome thing here is, again, all of our base facilities. So we've got thrift store, uniforms, skating, RV park, Paiute ponds, the gas station. I know the gas station right now is doing pump testing, so all those features are available. Another thing I thought was always kind of cool is that the youth in school section here, so that there are a lot of people that have kiddos here, so making sure that they know what information is available to them. I was just showing you earlier the school liaison program page. So the same thing, it's got it here. Elementary grades 5 and 6. Everything that you would have to need as a parent wanting to know what is available to your kids is available here. Let's see what else we got here. I'm way more excited about this than I should be, and the reason why is the amount of coding that I had to take to. I'm wireless, so I can show you how to do it too if you want to grab your phone too, sir. But the reason that I'm so excited about this is how much coding it took just to get our web stories into the app. So every story that we do produce is available on the app here. And the nice thing is that we were able to get all of our photos and pictures and the details of everything within the app. So, as you scroll to the very bottom, we have a little photo section. So it's got descriptions about it, who it is, what happened, who the photo's from, and all that kind of jazz. But now that General Higer and Chief Ward-Swanigan's jumped in, I'll pass it over to you guys, and then I don't know what questions you guys have, or if you want me to keep driving, or if you want to drive.
So I'll start with a mic check. You hear me all right? All right, and we're in the same room with Mac. Mac, thanks.
Yeah.
For getting this. Many thanks for picking up a little bit of slack. Chief and I just saw off General Bunch, the Air Force Material Commander, and his brand new command chief, Chief Master Sergeant Dave Flossie. And they were here kind of as a bonus in that they got to, Mac's going to help me out off camera. Is it unlocked?
Yeah.
They were here as a bonus. General Bunch was at Air Force Plant 42 yesterday morning, and his Mill-Air flight was going to be today anyway. So he said, "I'll just I'll delay a couple extra hours and go get to see airmen at I don't know that he. I'm sure he said this at some point. His favorite Air Force base in the Air Force, if not certainly in the MAGCOM." Now he actually did say he's been here. He's been stationed at your Center of the Aerospace Testing Universe for 12 years. In his 38 years of active duty service. And so he deeply and at a very granular level has a background and understanding of what we are up against here in the Aerospace Valley and at Edwards and Plant 42. But it's always good for him to get a refresh and an update. And Chief Flossie has been to Edwards multiple times, but he's never been stationed here. He's a nuclear weapons maintainer.
His phone's locked in.
So if you ever get a chance to run into Dave Flossie and ask him about, hey, what was the first 10, 12, 15 years of your career like, he'll do something like this. I love it. He'll pull his sleeves up and he'll say, "I have been up to here in nuclear weapons." and I'm like, better you than me, brother. But anyway, he's a fantastic dude, and I've had the privilege of working with him before. I'm thrilled that he is in the current job, and this is the end of week 2. Not going to work for me, Mac?
Yeah, you can use my phone if you want.
All right. I'll pretend that I'm using Mac's phone, and then we'll figure out why mine isn't working here in a little while. Okay. So anyway, that's why we were a few minutes late. I did, however, think you were going to get much more expert advice and navigation from our, I'll say the guy that built it, but he didn't build it by hacking down the trees and harvesting the sand to make the microchips and the paper. He did, however, take the loose tool set that's the background or the fundamentals of the application. After literally a fairly exhaustive down select of what platforms could we use, and we think we found a really good balance of this platform between something that is real-time updated, that we can curate in the message traffic and the narratives and the threads, and also that you can contribute to and we can update in a real time, and to do so in-house and also at reasonable cost. We are paying for this application and the subscription to this application for the foreseeable future. It is well within the budget that I've set aside for this. And so I believe this will be an enduring platform that will be with us for quite a while, and it'll update as we find things that need to be updated, or as there are capabilities that are made available in the underlying platform that we want to incorporate. So this isn't just a, hey, go to the Play Store, go to the Apple Podcast Store and download it and get logged in. It's a little bit of a navigation, but it's also a, what do you think, what are we missing, and file in your questions or your comments on the app. I don't think that's going to take the balance of the hour, and so with the balance of the hour, we'll take free form as we always do, questions, comments, and anything else you want to get to us or from us. Chief, any thoughts you want to pile in on, or minutes you want to preserve for us later?
I just wanted to, plug the app a little bit too, in that I'm excited in that it'll allow us to have one place to go for information. And currently we are taking one post from one of our pages for Edwards and reposting it to another and reposting it to another. And sometimes it doesn't get to all the pages, but this app will allow us to just post things, and that'll be the place to go for information. And so that'll help me out a great deal too. So I'm looking forward to that part of it. And trying to incorporate some of the stuff from the command chief seat into the app so that we can get information out and share and just be able to communicate better there.
One app to rule them all. And if you're not a Lord of the Rings fan, I'm sorry for that geeky quote, but it doesn't look like Bilbo's ring, but it certainly will be just as powerful, I think, at the end of the day. Okay, you mind going back to the broadcast of Mac's phone that he has graciously let me borrow here. So you can see there that this is the home page on the application. Mac, you're still on mic, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So as people download the app, do they have to add a profile?
They do not.
and so they can just pull information from it.
Yes, sir.
There's no privacy information or data information required for them to get minimal access to this.
Nope.
What benefits are unlocked as if they do decide to set up a profile, add a picture, an avatar, or anything else that they want on there?
So yeah, and the Takata 2 Central right there at the bottom of the app, they'll allow to be able to get into our message board, be able to check out what's going on, what's happening, and see what we're posting, seeing the things that are happening on. But features down the road, what we're looking to do is make it so that they can chat directly with General Higer, be able to communicate with one another if there's a question or back and forth, so that we can do that. And it's purely a safety thing, so that people aren't just spamming us and writing derogatory things. It allows us to be able to host things comfortably, so that they know that they're safe as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. And so the screen that I've got up right now is I'll help you guys out. By the way, I hope you're following us from home or from work or wherever you are. You can also get to this via web browsers, which if we have some time, we'll carve over to that and talk how you get through it there. But so on the main page, Takata 2 Central, there are currently 2 categories there, but there can be many more.
Yep.
So under the TestSwing 412 TestSwing CC updates, which I'm going to click right now, this is where we can publish or post threads. The banner there is legitimate, right? And that's a canned one that is in the underlying application. But it's basically what Mac just said. This is for all of our benefit, and because it's an app that is inside our control space, we can curate it. So if there's something in there that we think is out of bounds, then it will remove it. If there's something that we think is in bounds that's very germane to the conversation that would have been banned on another social media platform, we're going to keep it. And folks, I'll give you an actual example of something that is testament to that. So many of you, hopefully all of you, but certainly many of you are aware that we had a September 1st, I think it was, we had a Suicide Awareness Month kickoff in a 2-session thing, and we broadcast both of those live, and one of the channels that we used was Facebook Live. Because of the topic and because of one of the things that we broadcast, Facebook cut our feed during the broadcast because they were concerned about the topic of suicide being broadcast on their app. And I will tell you that that is sometimes that is going to be something that we may want to be able to chat about or talk about or communicate about, and not be beholden to a commercial company. So that's an example of the opposite, where we could have been nixed on another platform, but on this platform we're going to get to decide what is appropriate conversation and what is not. The flip side of that is derogatory comments, profanity, or anything like that will clearly be curated. And oh, by the way, team, if you see something like that, there are communications functions that you can quickly let us know that something's there to talk to. Mac, is there a preferred way that you folks let you know?
Well, yeah. So there's a report functionality on there. So if somebody does write something that's if you go back and then go to the other one, the PA update one.
To the PA update on Takata 2 Central?
Yeah.
Okay, so I go to Takata 2 Central, and then I go to PA updates.
So you can see in here we've been posting a lot just to make sure that the content stays fresh within there. But if you were to go down and make a comment on there, and somebody had written a comment in there, you can actually click on that button. And there, actually, I think if you could just try the 3 little dots there.
Oh, I see. So we'll talk about, let's see, let me pick one that I want to brag on. There we go. We'll brag on Air Force Ball. Okay, so Air Force Ball, hit the 3 dots.
So there's a report post there.
Okay.
So that would be how you would, if somebody had, somebody wrote something derogatory, something that happened like that, you can click on that button, we get an email saying it, and then we can, then read through and just determine, hey, this in fact is a way to do whatever you want it to do. And we could ban a user, we could, just remove the post and, keep the user, on there, but we would just remove that post. So that way, hey, they wrote a boneheaded, comment, but, they're just being a gooberhead or whatever. So let's just remove that post and keep them going. And then we could, send them an email or something like that, just saying, hey, chill out.
Yeah, one of the things that Mac and I have chatted about, and we need to mature this in a deliberate manner, but we're interested in your feedback and your updates. There's an email that hits my inbox, my official inbox on a recurring basis. That's the PA update email. Mm-hmm. It is a substantially long email. We can envision a future, haven't decided that this is the end state yet, but we can envision a future where that email still goes out with a link or a reminder, hey, go look at the online thing or go look at the app, something is new, or what is the new thing, and then that email is the fresh thing only, and then in the PA updates, this is not everything else, but the majority of what else is left. So it becomes a little bit more interactive and dynamic. You don't have to be on your AFNet email to get to it, and that's one of the potential benefits.
Yeah.
If you have a better solution or you think of something or a better way we can implement that as you learn the app, please do. Mac, any thoughts on that?
No, I think that's great. My biggest thing is that, I always feel that there's people out there way smarter than me, and they know things better than I do, and they've got an idea that I didn't think about or somebody here didn't think about. And I think it's important that, for us to grow and grow our platform, that, people's feedback is super important. I always say you're not going to hurt my feelings or anybody here's feelings by saying, hey, this could be done or be done better if. So yeah, we're all for that. So yeah.
Yeah, I will tell you again. Reminder: it's a no charge app. We're making no money on this, and we have a sustainable funding stream to keep it updated and keep it fresh, which was one of the things that was I'll say a fatal flaw of the previous version of the Edwards app. It was just going to be too complicated and too hard to update, and that was one of the requirements here. Let me hit Mac. I don't remember which ones you talked about. I did see you talk about the map.
A little
and hours,
bit, yeah.
Or hours?
I just talked about the hours and
Okay.
dining locations.
Okay, so I don't know why we'd ever need to talk about or want to talk about COVID, but if you're interested, while we're talking about COVID and you have the app, you can go to this page. This pulls information from the same source or directly from the www.af.mil/coronavirus page, and these are the 3 banners on it. This is an example here, these slides.
That image of me right there always gets me. Did you see it?
The random frame freeze, right? So these charts, and they're kind of small, but if I have my cheaters on, so I can read it on Mac's phone. These are the exact slides. The slide deck includes controlled and classified information that we brief at our COVID installation updates, COVID CAT installation updates. We either scrub those slides of their critical controlled and classified information, or we remove the slides altogether, and anything we can post, we do. These will be refreshed about twice monthly, and this is the same information that is briefed to me or briefed to my representative at the beginning of that COVID briefing. So if you want to know what I saw on the COVID scenario locally, this is that chart. This is an amalgamation done by our exceptional public health team to include our FEO, our public health emergency officer, Lieutenant Colonel Michelle Westy, who you have seen on this broadcast many, many times. She pulls out salient information on, we'll go national, then state, then local level, and then any other information she wants to get to us. For example, this 4th chart here, if I can touch it.
So it's a little cranky on the phone right now.
That's okay. Anyway, the 4th chart isn't showing. That's the vaccination. That's a vaccination slide. So that's a document there for COVID-19. Remember, there are 3 places. So there's the base page here. That one, Chief?
Yes.
That's
that's
yeah.
the one.
Yeah. We'll
You got a problem?
Don't make me use these stripes. Okay. If you have a question and it's on your phone, this is the Edwards Air Force Base COVID-19 directive. That is an important document, and when it updates, you'll currently note it's only 2 pages long. It has been stable since the end of May, as you can see there, 19 May, and this is the source document for example, who can get on base and in what condition. So you can see here, this is the source document that all of us use, including me, at certain HPCon levels. Who can be on the installation, mission critical, mission essential, operationally necessary, retirees, visitors, and then a couple notes on the side. And then the definitions of each category are right below as it applies to this requirement. Mission critical, mission essential, operation necessary, retiree, and visitors. And then I'll say here's a big push. If you notice something in here, that bottom paragraph is send recommended changes, opportunities for improvement, and observations to the 412 testing workflow which is the Commander's Action Group, and also they drive the Crisis Action Team as well. But it's such a tremendous amount of information and power that you can now have in multiple places. There we go. Let's see. Chief will do, how about we do 2 more? So I'm going to pass the phone off to Chief, let her navigate to a place that as she free plays with it for a while, and let her give you some her observations and her thoughts.
I'll go with the news one. This is the one that I've been like sifting through. It has a lot of different articles dating back long before I even arrived, so it gives me a chance to catch some of the history prior to my arrival on things that have gone on with Edwards, and just I think that the history is one of the things that makes us what we are today, and it gets into, you know, why we're the most important MAGCOM and all these other things, right? And so I find this one pretty useful if you're just curious about Edwards, you haven't had an opportunity to get out to the museum, just different things that have gone on throughout the base, and so just different stories and whatnot on this particular link. Let's see.
Did we demo the search function?
We have not yet, no.
Yeah, so why don't you hit the
back in there?
Hit the search button.
Okay.
There.
What do we want to
Mac,
search
you
for?
got an idea what you recommend we demo here?
I always say building 3000 because everybody always asks where building 3000 is.
Great.
3,000. Is it going?
Let me see. Did you hit return or did you hit done?
I hit done.
So you have to hit the little return button.
I got you.
So, you know, the 4th option down there.
Click on that. Oh, and you
Yeah,
get
so here's all the
directions.
information.
And it takes you right to the map
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
with the information behind it. Did you go through a map functionality again before we got here, Mac?
I hadn't gotten that far yet, no. But yeah, so I mean, I showed how you can use directions and, you know, drive to your location, but I didn't really drive into, hey, here's, you know, all the available locations on there.
It's got
hey,
all the
I like seeing what I see was broken, so I get to fix it. Yay!
It's got all the information about the place and what they offer.
Hey, Mac, from a geek's perspective, where is this information, for example, this Building 3000 information, where is it pulling from?
So all of that data, it was pulled in through their website and then some other parsing that I had to do. So that's where the issue is that I saw that there's a connection issue right there. So I get to work on that. But
So what you're doing is you're going to their website, pulling from the website.
yeah,
So as the websites get updated, it feeds through in
correct. So yeah, so
seconds, minutes, hours, days, weeks, months.
It depends on the schedule. So most of the times it's 5 to 10 minutes. So that's how fast I have the recurring. If it's just a feed from the site, it's from the second that they update on their side, we immediately see it on our side. All of our stories update every 10 minutes to 15 minutes. So every time we publish a story that goes out, it automatically kicks over to the site every 15 minutes. So then no matter where you are, you always have the freshest information that we're producing, AFMC's producing, the Air Force is producing, and then even these locations. So like with FSS, they're managing their sections. So yeah, so as content gets updated around, the app will update as well.
So folks, I want to make sure you heard that right. Mac, how long from the time it changes until the time they can see it on the app?
It depends, but anywhere between 5 and 15 minutes.
Yeah, near real time, folks.
Yeah.
That is. I don't know. I get all kinds of great adjectives I can put on that, but I mean, it is bottom line. That's phenomenal. And the other thing that is phenomenal is that it goes to the source that's also available in parallel. So like, there's no one road that gets you to the helping agencies. Right? There's no one road that gets you to a map. There's a bunch of paths you can go through to get to it. But if it's the source document, that's great. If it's all pulled from the same source document, then it doesn't matter how you get there. It matters that the information is what you get to.
Well, and that was what was super important to me is that, you know, there's a lot of different ways to find something. And if you just had it in one location and you didn't know that existed, then you would never find it. So making sure that as people navigate to different areas and different sections, you know, the information that they would expect to find in that location, they'd be able to have that data. So if it's, you know, like helping agencies, we've got, you know, phone numbers within there, but we also have phone numbers listed elsewhere as well. So that way you're if you're clicking on the phone icon, you can still see those data points, but there's still other places to find the information as well. So that as you drill in, you're like, oh, I never even thought about looking here for that. So we have it in different locations as well.
Sweet. Chief, one more you want to demo?
Yes, sir. So as I was scrolling through, I saw this one on helping agencies, and I wanted to stop there for a minute. I've been on a mental health kick this week. Started my week on my bike, and they had a ride dedicated to mental health, and I saw Chief Thompson on that same ride at some point during that hour that I was working out. And I didn't know I needed a mental health ride until I did a mental health ride. And then so I brought that into the office, and then I took that into the shirt meeting. And I just been, mental health is a big deal. It's really important. And it also kicked, us into a conversation about the mood metrics that pops up on your computer for some of us that are being beta tested for that. And helping agencies, if you are in a certain mood on that mood metrics app, it'll take you to a list of all the various helping agencies along, across the base. And so just making sure that people remember that there are these resources available and to just check in on each other.
And so if you go back a screen there, Chief is driving Mac's phone right now. You hit the helping agencies, the list of helping agencies that are there populates, right? That's how you get to it.
Yes,
and then it just drill into one, maybe two. And
well, here's a place I'm familiar with, Chapel 1, Chapel 2.
yes, that is Chapel 1. That is the main chapel there. And then just to the right of that is the Chapel 1 Annex, where we have hard talks every duty day Thursday at 1500. It's scheduled for an hour, but we end when we're done talking, not when we run out of time. Folks, hard talks is it's a term we use here at Edwards, but it meets General Bunch's intent for sensing sessions. Mm-hmm. We've had it for going on 15 plus months now. You will always have, and we don't know who's going to be scheduled to do it, so we can't advertise when you're going to find Chief, when you're going to find me, when you're going to find Dan or Colonel Gordon, or when the center helps, when you're going to find them. We will always have a senior leader from the installation there and resident to kind of, facilitate the conversation. But in addition to that, there's always a chaplain, there's always an EO professional, and there's typically a third member from one of those two teams that also shows up as well. So if there's a topic there that I would be a mandatory reporter or I have to take action on something that you want to get to us or get to our knowledge, and you're not sure about it, you can pull the chaplain aside, because they have 100% confidentiality and they're always there. That's a super important topic of having a place where a chaplain can go into an office and they can immediately handle that. If it's a topic that is EO or EO related, there will be an EO specialist that can answer those questions there. This was born of the social unrest, social justice movement that we had last summer 20. And what we found as we stood it up and started having these available, attendance would be, we can easily handle 12 to 15 people in the room in the current configuration. And depending on HPCon level, if it got to be 10, 20, 30, right now we could handle that. So if you have a topic you want to get to our awareness, or you just need to get something off your chest, it doesn't have to be an EO topic. It doesn't have to be a chaplain topic. It doesn't have to be a DEI topic. It's just something that you need to get out in the open to get off your chest, or you'd like to bring it to our attention for awareness. And it's every duty day Thursday, Chapel 1 Annex at 1500. So that's a helping agency, and one of the things that they do among dozens of others.
Yes, sir. And just to, keep the conversation along those lines, we just left the forum where General Bunch was asked about whether or not there was going to be another resiliency tactical pause day, and whether or not that's happening at the Air Force level or not. I recently had a conversation with the first sergeants to see if we can get something across the wing that's specific to resiliency, mental health, and just making sure that everybody is taking a look in the mirror to make sure that their own mental health is good, so that they can be there for other people around. So it doesn't matter what position you're in, whether it's your position, sir, mine, or any other across the base. We all have to sometimes make sure that we're taking care of ourselves so that we can take care of each other. So that would be all I would say on
all right.
some of the useful
let's
tools
flip back
there.
to the app. I'll do one more thing, which I think is just so cool, right? I did in the very early snippet test, I did this one, but I love the map, right? And I put on my cheaters here so I can see again. You can't quite see where my finger's touching, but let's go to let's go over to the best zip code in the Air Force, 93523. And so Mac, these numbers, 9, 2, 3, what are those on the app?
Those are showing you how many different little other spots are in that location.
Oh,
So
I
there's-
see.
there's-
All right. So as I zoom in to the commissary, there are a couple more that were hidden.
Yeah.
Effectively. So now I'm going to touch you can see it there in the kind of middle top of the screen, Edwards Air Force Base Commissary. And when I touch the screen, I get the red dots. The red dots tell me there's more behind it. So I hit the red dot that's appropriate. It shows up at the top of the screen. I hit the view more, and now I get the full download of what information is available. And then Mac, you demoed the get directions part. Right?
Yeah.
What if you hit contact here? That's the contact information for the commissary.
Yep.
As they've published on their website.
Yep.
So how you get a hold of them to verify their hours, or to let them know that the hours that are showing up here, which are from their website, aren't what are on the building or what you're actually experiencing. This will give them an opportunity when they need to change hours for a holiday or adjust hours or days closed. They could update their website and it would automatically show on the phone.
Yep.
As well. So I think that's a most excellent example. And I assume I'm gonna star it.
Okay. Yes.
So what does that do?
So if you click on the three little lines at the top right, the little hamburger, and then you scroll to the top, and then you click on that star. So that saves it as a frequent location. So if you're always using it or whatever, wanted to know the number, so now you've saved it as a favorite.
Awesome.
Also, something on the map, if you drill back into it, those three little lines in the bottom right,
I just clicked them.
yeah, it'll give you an actual different listing view of all of those locations as well. So that way, as you're looking around and want to see stuff in a different view, here's another list. So it's a little more of an eye chart than having to scroll through all these things, but there's a lot of different locations that are on there for people to choose from.
Outstanding. All right, folks. We could spend the rest of not just the rest of the broadcast, we could spend the rest of the day going through this. I will say the two most important things that I would like you to take away from this, maybe three. The first one is use it, right? Use it, spread it, promulgate it, proselytize it, right? The more of us that are using this, the more powerful and valuable it becomes for all of us. And even if you only use it for certain small functions or certain little things, the fact that you are in it and you are using it allows us to better test it, better show it out, and better talk about it. If there's something that you think should be a part of the app or resident on the app, let us know, and by us I mean Mac. Mac, when they're in the app, how do they provide you feedback on something they observe that's a potential fix or something that's potentially app-based, not data that you pull from other sources?
Sure, absolutely. So again, if you go back to that hamburger in the top right, where you see app feedback, the second item down, and this is where whether it's an update or a feature request or something like that, it gets put into a gigantic spreadsheet online. So then as people write content or whatever like that, we'll be able to see what they're saying and what they want. And if there's a feature request, or an issue or something's not working or something's missing, please let us know. Please let us know so we can fix it immediately for you guys.
And this will generate an email that goes to a workflow, and you guys catch it from there.
Yep.
Awesome. That doesn't mean it's going to be 5 to 15 minutes, right?
No.
And Mac does a lot of other things besides be my app master around the place. But that is a fantastic ability for you to provide real-time feedback, comments, questions, and concerns.
Absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely.
About the application in general. We are going to roll out additional capabilities. One of the things that I am super excited about in the Commander's Corner is not just the commentaries, but the Takata 2 Central, which you could navigate to another way, and the updates. Some type of a thread here, right? So if there's something going on that I need to get out to the crowd, folks, this is literally the first place I'm going to go to push that, or the person driving the installation on my behalf when I'm not at the, if you will, at the wheel. They'll be the one pushing that update out on my behalf. And if you have an observation about, signs down, or a tree's fallen, or a limb's fallen, or power's out, or anything like that, this is the place that I will go to first, and then I'll integrate, or the person driving the installation will integrate this inside the other Air Force channels. And this information or this access is available anywhere you have a device, at your desk, at work, on your phone, wherever you have it, on a computer via web access and other places like that. So real quick, web access.
Yeah.
Harley, can you you call that up and show them what the web access looks like? So go ahead, Mac. Go ahead and talk through it.
Yeah. So it's a nice.
What's the URL?
So it's edwards.af.mil/app.
Awesome.
So just app, and it's basically everything that you would get on the phone, but just as a web version. So you're not near. It does work on AFNet, which is nice. So it is able to do that. So all the functionality is there. The only downside is the video portion for it being YouTube is blocked. So I'm working around that as well to see how we can do that for AFNet for getting videos on there. But everything that Brigadier General Higer just showed is now available on your desktop as well. So every functionality, every feature. The call functionality works too if your computer is able to do that. So it will work as it needs to. So yeah.
So any place you can get to the net, no matter what device you're on, even if you don't have the app installed, you can use the same features.
Yep. So you can go to the web version, the same web page on your mobile device. If you don't want to install the app on your phone, you can still access all the features as well.
And I assume if there's not there, that we will have quickly a, hey, go to the app here link on the edwards.af.mil homepage / portal.
Yep. It'll be up here in probably about 30-45 minutes.
Awesome. All right. And then I guess the last one, if you covered it already, Mac, we'll just press past it. But would you mind? I'll hand you your phone back. Thank you for sharing that with us.
Absolutely.
Can you go to an app store and show us what the app looks like in the app store, so folks that are interested in installing it can do so?
Sure.
So can you go back to Mac's phone for the broadcast?
Yeah. So you can search Edwards Air Force Base. You can search Edwards AFB. It doesn't matter what you guys search. You can find us both ways. I did title it the one app to rule them all, just so you can,
It's the same. It's the same, if you will, avatar icon as the previous app. The differentiation is the subtitle. Edwards Air Force Base. And
so actually Harley is the next rollout will have a nice little different icon that we're going to throw on there, something fun and different. So it'll change a little bit, but yeah. So. And we took down the other one, right? So that one does not exist anymore. Okay, so if you've downloaded this app in the past hour, day, 1 October, about what time did you guys change it? Probably 5 days, 4 days.
Okay. All right.
But also, if you have the old app, I have a banner at the very top. They can click on that banner. It takes them to a web page where they, depending on their device, they can either download it for iOS or Google. So no matter what device they have, they got to set.
Is this guy awesome or is this guy awesome? And by the way, it's not just Mac; it's the whole PA team. But this is phenomenal work, and I love it. So that's it. And,
I've already got some ideas.
Yeah. So email me away, and I won't sleep. So it'll be great. But yeah, so here's the functionality of it in the App Store. My Google phone's over there, but
and we're going to keep this thing moving and keep it upgrading no matter what kind of ratings you give us. If you choose to do that, that's fantastic. But no biggie. If you are a sponsor, or if you are PCSing inbound and you're watching this from afar, this is the first place I would recommend you go if you're the one inbound, or if you're a sponsor for your inbound person, to start to get familiarity with the environment that they're walking into, and just how innovative and leading edge the Center of the Aerospace Testing Universe is. No kidding, Mac, you rock. Thank you. This is exceptional, and I'm glad we're here, and I'm glad we moved at the speed of deliberate to get to this capability. So thanks. Yep. Let me pivot to something real fast. As you give us your can somebody put the banner there across the bottom? It's the number is 707-412-8922, and that number has not changed. It's 707-412-8922. I've got Master Sergeant Nielsen here off camera. He's going to read any questions or comments that you ring in, or legacy ones we haven't gotten to. While you're typing that in and saying how awesome Mac is, and that would have had a better host, and too bad he had to have glasses and all those other things. I do want to emphasize one thing. I saw I actually go back and look at all these broadcasts if I don't participate in it, and sometimes I go back and watch the broadcast that I do participate in to debrief myself and my performance. But the one that we had on that Chief and Colonel Gordon did on 1 October, the question got asked. There was a question about Halloween, and it was, how are we going to do Halloween? So I want to make sure that we get it out here and you broadcast it as wide as you can. The base, I decided, for various reasons, but I decided quite a few months ago that we would celebrate the trick-or-treating part of Halloween on Saturday night, the 30th of October. There are various reasons for that, but the bottom line is we're going to do that on Saturday night, the 30th of October, on base. So that's an important, that's an affirmation or a confirmation of that's the date. I'm not necessarily really going to be hard over about how early, how late. It naturally starts and it naturally ends in my 40-something years of doing trick-or-treating. And last year on base was no different. The other years that I've been on base here have been no different as well. If you recall, last year, Halloween was the first time we had a chance to do anything that was even pseudo-resembling social. And Chief Ward wasn't here, but it was so great to actually see people and stand 8, 10, 12 feet away from them and actually talk to them. It was such an awesome experience. The same basic precautions will apply this year with one big exception. The big exception in a good way is that overwhelmingly we now have significant vaccination through the population. But as you recall, no one that will be trick-or-treating or out and about under the age of 12 has an opportunity to be vaccinated. And because we have that very precious and zero vaccination population running around, we're still going to treat it like a COVID event and respect the virus, but not let the virus drag us down. So keep everything outside, driveway, sidewalk, whatever. Please try not to combine households. There's a long tradition in Palo Verde that all of the households go on one driveway. We're not going to do that. We did not do that last year. We're not going to do that this year. The why is that it's generally a good party to have all those folks together at the same time. And the problem is it draws a crowd. And I don't want any crowds of young unvaccinated folks standing together. So we're not going to do that at my next door neighbor's house this year. Fingers crossed we might be able to do it 13 months from now, but we'll fight that fight when we get to it. So and another thing that's kind of cool in a good way, not just the vaccine good way, but good way, is that last year we weren't sure exactly how the virus transmitted. So we were extremely deliberate in how kids were able to touch things. Well, now that we know that it's airborne and aerosol and touch isn't a primary method, if it's a method at all of transmission, it can be back to trick-or-treating as normal for the how do you hand out your treats and so on and so forth. Make sure that you keep the little ones, as you would always, keep their hands clean before they stuff them in their mouth and stick them in their eyes. But that's for all germs, not just the SARS-CoV-2 germ that is certainly with us and will probably be with us for a long time further. So trick-or-treating on base, Saturday night, October 30th. Individual residences. And because it's a Saturday, I'm not going to, because it's a Saturday and we are at HPCon Bravo, if you have an ID card, you'll be able to join us on base should you choose to do that. What about trunk or treat? What about other Halloween celebrations? If that rings in, Jeremy will broadcast it for us. Typically trunk or treat's on a different day or earlier the same day, but the folks that run that can get us or get you an update.
Yes, it's on the 29th this year.
29th, Friday the 29th. Awesome. And I bet if I had spent more time on the app, we clicked in the FSS page, we would have seen that or found that there too. But so really important that I pass the trick-or-treating Halloween update to you, and that's the direction that we are continuing down. The decision was made quite a while ago. There will also be, and I'll tease you a little bit here, there'll also be one more exciting thing that we kick off on Halloween. And so if you're a parent walking around with your kids, you're going to find that some of us will have business cards with a survey link on it. And so you'll hit the QR code or you'll type in the survey link and you'll be able to complete our school survey while you're out walking around with your kids. And I can't encourage you enough to participate in instantiation 3 of the survey. We use that data and it will likely be in family with the previous 2 surveys to really drive home or pinpoint ways that we can make the school scenario better for everyone in the Edwards community, but particularly those folks that go to school and or live on the installation. And so that will also be something that we launch just going into Halloween, and then we'll have some cards to pass out from a few of the houses as you trick-or-treat around on Saturday night, the 30th of October. So with that, Jeremy, nothing going on. So maybe there's a question. What you got?
Yes, sir. The first question is related to HPCon and going back to Alpha. Now, that being said, I know that we don't really have a normal that we're going to go back to. This is the future that we're going into. So is there any guidance from higher levels of, as November passes and we go into the new year, are there updates regarding going back to HPCon Alpha?
So the question is, when are we going to go to Alpha, or under what conditions would we go to Alpha? Is that the question?
Yes, sir.
So I will reflect back, as I often have in this broadcast, that we're at Bravo. That means we could go to HPCon 0, HPCon Alpha, HPCon Charlie, or HPCon Delta. It's not a DEF CON increment up, increment down requirement. We go where the data tells us to go. If that data tells us that Alpha is the next step, then we'll take the step when the data supports that. If the data tells us that we have to go to Charlie to prevent going to Delta, then I'm certainly not afraid to do that. We've been there before. I don't want to be there, but Charlie's a heck of a lot better than Delta. And so I don't know what is next. I don't know if it's Charlie. I don't know if it's Delta. I don't know if it's Alpha. It will most likely not be HPCon 0, however. We'll probably be at least Alpha for an extended period of time. At least my prediction, another 18 months plus at Alpha or more. Now, if you go to the app, you go to the website and you look at the charts, I am interested in what's happening nationally. I'm a little bit more interested in what's happening as a state. And the why is that once the state goes, right now, California, by the way, is the only state in the CONUS that is not high COVID transmission. Good on us. We are blessed to live in a state where we are not high COVID transmission. And I think California is going to lead the way to, I don't know if it's mild or moderate, but the yellow color. Mm-hmm. And when we get there as a state, that will generally, not required, but that will generally correlate with considering lowering to an HPCon Alpha. And it also gives me an option to potentially do masks for those that are fully vaccinated. And so when we get to yellow as a state, that opens up some opportunity for me to remove or reduce some restrictions, also potentially some larger gatherings and things like that. So that's what I hope happens, but the data will lead us. If the current trend lines hold, we are trending that direction. History teaches, however, that mid-October of 20, we were in a not dissimilar scenario from a case rate and trend lines. Halloween didn't give us the blip, but oh my gosh, Thanksgiving sent it through the roof. Christmas made it worse. Hundreds of thousands of Americans and tens of thousands of people residing in California died in that period. I hope that's not what we're trending. Most of the models predict we're not going to have a repeat. But I'm a mild student of history, and that's what history tells me. Long answer to we're standing Bravo kind of question. And if you want to know what the guidance says or the recommended things say, you can look that up on the DoD website under health protection memos, and they're up to supplement number 26 or 27 now. One of those active memos is the place. It's a very large matrix that is the guidance from a numbers perspective. I take that as guidance, as recommendations, but I don't take that as a directive. So that's how I'll look at it and how I'll lean in it, and I'll very much consult with my public health expertise as well. So I think that one covers it. Chief, anything you want to pile on HPCon or ThreatCon?
No, sir.
All right. What's next, Jeremy?
Next question, sir. Are there any updates on assignment incentive pay?
Yeah, so Chief, I'll let you take a swing at this one because you've been more up to speed as I've been gone for the last better part of a month.
So assignment incentive pay, I did address this at the senior leadership conference last week. I had General Bunchazir and everybody that sits on his left and right, and they are tracking that we have been waiting an entire year at this point since we submitted that information up for consideration. The status remains that it's still pending, it's still up at half, and we're still waiting a decision on that. So unfortunately, I don't have any new update as to whether or not that's going to go or not go. So we're still kind of in a holding pattern as far as assignment incentive pay is concerned, unfortunately.
Good news is it hasn't been declined. Bad news is we're still in a holding pattern.
Yes, sir.
All right. What's next, Jeremy?
Next question, sir, is talking about different variants of the vaccination being approved other than Moderna and Johnson & Johnson. So I didn't know if there was any guidance we had with regards to that.
So I didn't stay in Holiday Inn Express last night, and I'm not a medical professional. Having said both those caveats, if you are paying attention to if you've had a chance to listen to the news broadcasts or articles the last few days on this, it's been a really, I'll say, really exciting series of updates. Right now, as I understood it this morning, getting my news feed updates, that it is likely that we're going to have soon a booster EUA, so emergency use authorization approval for an mRNA booster to those of you that receive J&J. I think that's an exceptional opportunity there. We also have Moderna has asked for a booster just like Pfizer has. I expect that one is likely going to be approved for those 65 and older, high risk, and in either high risk for health or high risk for occupation. So the booster opportunities will be the same for the two mRNA vaccines, Pfizer and Moderna. And there's also some just really, if you're a data geek like I, there's some fascinating, if you will, cross-pollination of vaccines information available that's starting to surface because we have a large number of folks that have had the vaccine or a combination of vaccines and are now months out as we look at the level of antibodies going forward in their bodies. The punchline of all this is that there's only one vaccine that is FDA approved or licensed, and that is the Pfizer vaccine, Comirnaty, or I don't know the brand name, but it's the Pfizer vaccine. That's the only one that's licensed. That is the only vaccine that we are mandatorily or non-voluntarily vaccinating active duty members with. Although all of the others would count if someone wants to get an EUA-approved Moderna or J&J vaccine for their vaccination mandates. The other interesting thing, and I can say this personally, because there's a young one, not little anymore, but there's a young one in my house that is under the age of 12. And we are super interested in upping his antibody count in the very near future. And so we are anxiously awaiting some type of an EUA approval and or licensure approval for vaccinations for those under age 12. I don't have any prediction on what that's going to look like, although I do know most of the vaccine makers have submitted their requests, and we'll see what surfaces. If you do the calendar math real fast, right now we're clearly going to miss, for kids that would immediately become eligible when that happens, we're going to miss Halloween for them. Outdoor events, not super cold in this area, so relatively low risk there. But we're probably going to have a hard time getting them fully immunized by Thanksgiving. Mm-hmm. So as a family with younger kids, our family plans to be extra conservative still for that young one's benefit. But we're thinking that, my spouse and I are hoping / thinking that we'll have the ability to have that last member of our house fully vaccinated well before Christmas. And then we can start the new year and the next school year in good, fully vaccinated household status. And that's my prediction based on what I'm reading, open source information. I wish I had more information for you on that authoritatively, but I don't. That's the best we got. I hope that answers the question. If not, and if you know something different, please let us know, and we'll certainly. I'm very, very willing to correct my data when presented with facts that tell me I was wrong. What you got, Jeremy?
It's along the same lines, sir, but it's specific to vaccinations on the school, the school on base, becoming a requirement, if that's going to happen or if there's any discussion of that thus far.
Chief, have you had any talks with Muroc or the SLO or Colonel Harris?
Not here recently,
on that topic. Okay. It's an exceptional question. So that on the topic of vaccinations and school, vaccinations and school teachers, vaccinations and other adult workers in the schools with our children, that is an exceptional topic that I can't authoritatively address because the control of those requirements are outside of my span of control. They are certainly inside my span of influence, but there's not a lot that I think we can move on at this time. Historically, I think many of us, if not all of us, remember that when you were a school-age kid, your parents had to show up with a shot record before you were allowed in certain grades with or without certain shots. And I am confident that in the future, I don't know if it's not a few weeks away, but I'm confident that at some point a COVID vaccination will be one of those additional shot requirements for those that are medically eligible to do it. And the exceptions to that or the waivers to that will be as diverse as there are school districts and potentially as diverse as there are superintendents on how do you work that and what documentation would you need for that. So to the listener that texted that in, that's an incomplete answer. Right now, I'm not aware of any pending changes at Muroc Joint Unified School District. And I don't really see the environment changing until we have a vaccine approved for children under the age of 12.
Thank you, sir. That's the last question I have.
Yeah, that's the last one rung in, huh? So I am surprised, candidly. We're right on time, but I'm going to talk to you for a couple extra minutes. I'm surprised that we didn't get any questions on mandatory vaccinations for civilians. Chief, I'll let Chief relay. What did you take away after spending the majority of the day with General Bunch and Chief Fossey on the mandatory vaccinations for civilians topic, and then I'll pile on my observations as well.
Well, it's definitely a concern, and it's at General Bunch's level. I mean, between religious accommodations and medical exemptions and how we handle civilians in those categories, he didn't even have the answers at his level. And so if you trickle down all the way here, if he doesn't know, we don't have any answers at the moment, but
yes,
we're standing by patiently.
Yes. So yesterday morning, the 14th of October, well, let's go back. October 8th or 9th, I can't remember the date that Lieutenant General Schaefer sent the email out. Hey, AFMC, everybody, here are the requirements. These are, and he sourced 3 documents that were directive in nature. One of those was directive to active duty. Another one was directive to civilian on you are required to have to be fully vaccinated against COVID. It was a one or two page, depending how you print it, 1 or 2 page email, relatively short, but with a lot of links to information. And that went out on I think it was Friday the 8th, 7 days after the Deputy Secretary of Defense, Secretary Hicks, signed out a memo that directed all DoD civilians to become fully vaccinated with a no later than date of 22 November. So if you do the math and you look at especially an mRNA vaccine, 1 October to 22 November ain't a lot of time to make that happen, especially if the vaccine of choice for you is Moderna. Mm-hmm. Because there's a 4-week wait period between first and second dose of Moderna. Pfizer's 3, J&J is a single shot, and then after the second shot in all cases, or the last shot in all cases, there's a 2-week waiting period. So if you back that up, first shot dates to meet that requirement, if Moderna is your choice, have already passed us by. I think Pfizer's close, if it's not already also eclipsed us. And then if you do the math in public, November 22nd minus 14, November 8th is the last opportunity to get a J&J shot and meet the fully vaccinated requirement. So these dates are happening very fast. But while the DepSecDef directive went out, go execute, AFMC a week later said, yes, in fact, this is a go do. We don't yet have full implementation guidance on a lot of the natural second and third order questions that happen. And when I say we don't have it, it's not Chief and I that don't have it. General Bunch doesn't have it. And he's been asking for weeks, we need implementation guidance. Things like, what if someone medically can't be vaccinated? Now what do we do? How are we going to require proof of vaccination, or are we going to do attestation? And if we're going to require proof, what is the proof that counts and what is stuff that wouldn't? If we're going to do attestation, how soon does someone have to give us the statement? And then if someone can't be vaccinated for a medical reason, or they ask for a religious exemption to that, what are the testing requirements going to be? What are the residual mask requirements for the person that isn't vaccinated, no matter why they're not vaccinated, and those that are in the same room or in the same proximity with them? Because at that point, those of us that are fully vaccinated, we could be a threat to them, an actual life-threatening threat to them. So how do we move forward into the new normal where the expectation is that everyone's vaccinated in the workforce? But the reality is that there will always be a onesie twosie around that can't be for some reason. Who does medical exemptions for civilians? Who processes those? Under what authority? Who does religious accommodations for civilians, and under what? Those are questions that I can't answer, that General Bunch can't answer. And so as soon as that information is known, we will relay it to you through appropriate channels, and we'll do what we can to comply with three pillars of guidance from the Secretary of Defense. So Secretary Austin, in one of those directive memos, said we're going to execute using 3 words in this push. We're going to execute with urgency. We're going to execute with professionalism, and we're going to execute with compassion. And so I think that is an exceptional summary or distillation of, frankly, what we ought to always be doing in our military leadership positions in professional life. Urgency. Why urgent? Well, in the case of COVID shots, we're competing against a deadly virus. In all cases, we're competing against other nations and other ways of thought in the world that want to displace us and not join with us in making the world better, but displace us. So that sense of urgency is important on a grand scale, and it's also important in making sure that we maximize vaccinations in our daily environment, on and off duty, in work and off work. But recognizing there's personal choice in there too, which gets us to professionalism. If someone can't be vaccinated or chooses not to be vaccinated, then we need to treat them professionally as we decide what is the best outcome for all involved, including the person that either can't or chooses not to be vaccinated. And I can run 100 different scenarios or what ifs with you on someone choosing not to be vaccinated, but it'll depend on the specific scenario. We've been running some traps for military members, and we're in no way, shape, or form even started on any of those for civilians. The earliest potential date for that would be the 23rd of November, and candidly, the deadline will be the 22nd, and then we'll have to figure out what to do after that, and hopefully we'll have some really granular implementation guidance after that. The third word, compassion. This is potentially a very emotionally charged topic for a lot of us on both sides. I have heard in no uncertain terms folks that are of the opinion that if you don't have a vaccine, you are a threat to me and my family, and they're very passionate about that. And when I say me, that's a generic. The flip side of that, I've also heard folks very emphatically say, I have the right to the sanctity of my body, and I should be able to choose, because I'm an American protected by the Constitution, of what goes in it. And they're very passionate on that. There's a confluence there, but there's more friction than there is coherence. And so compassionately listening, compassionately attempting to seek to understand, and then listen is a super important part of command, leadership, philosophy, wingmanship. And this is certainly no different. And it is a deeply held conviction on both sides of that debate. And I'm probably simplifying it too much in saying that it's two sides. It's a multifactorial, multi-sided aspect, and that's a big deal. So the 3 guiding pillars from Secretary Austin that I think are on target: we're going to move out with these vaccination mandates with a sense of urgency. We're going to move out in a professional manner. And we're going to move out with compassion for the airmen, treating them with dignity and respect, just as you would want to be treated in this scenario. And then recognize that all of us as adults, we get choices. choices have consequences. Sometimes the consequences are de minimis, and other times they are potentially life-altering. And in some cases, depending on how you get exposed, if you're unvaccinated and how you react to it, potentially even life-threatening. So that's my summary on how that goes. I wish I had a lot more details or granularity in that. I do not. And as soon as we do, we'll push it out via unit command center, group command center, and CAT channels as soon as we have it. So as you have questions or need feedback, communicate up those same channels to your supervisor, to your commander, to your director with your questions and your concerns. We are on at least a weekly basis putting a team together, a Tiger team, if you will, to address those answers and questions, and I'm willing to convene that Tiger team more often than required. I did send out an email that was, if you will, a forward of the one that Lieutenant General Schaefer sent. I sent it out yesterday morning about 9 o'clock. And it's, I hear you, and I am moving out with you, recognizing that these are not my choices, but I do get to choose how we implement in the absence of implementation guidance. And so far, we're moving at the speed of deliberate with urgency, professionalism, and treating everybody involved with compassion. So that's not a necessarily bad place to end from my perspective today. Sergeant Nielsen, anything you want to throw at the crowd? Like shout out to your favorite football team or something else over the weekend? It's almost, what is it? Almost the pennant series, you know, almost the World Series timeline. Anything you want to throw out at the crowd?
I don't at this time, sir, but I appreciate the opportunity. My dad will text me later about how I should know more about football.
I should know more about football. All right. Well, I appreciate you handling the comments and questions for us on the background. Mac is still in the room to make sure that everything works flawlessly, as he often does. Mac, thanks again. I appreciate everything that you do for us, and this app is a huge testament to your commitment to us and the fact that you are an airman through and through, despite the fact that we can't get you in an OCP uniform. But you know, I might know a guy, so we'll see what we can do there. Thanks again, Mac, and happy Friday. Chief, any thoughts before we bid folks an adieu?
I would just have one quick thought, and that is along the lines of what I talked about earlier regarding mental health. Just take care of each other. If you don't have a connection with everyone that's within your charge, if you don't have a connection with everyone in your surrounding area, wherever you work, I think that's pretty foul, and I would suggest that you're right that, because we're supposed to be a family. With everything that's going on, we really need to make sure that everybody, whether they're in the uniform or not in the uniform, that they have the ability to have a conversation and meet the basic needs of the relationships necessary for this whole thing to work. And whether you're in a supervisory role or not, we all just need to be able to do that. And so just take a look around and make sure that we're making those connections, because everybody, doesn't matter what rank or what role, we all need that. And so I would just harp on that a little bit.
Yeah, we heard one of the presenters to General Bunch and Chief Flossie earlier today say, you know, we talk a lot about, well, if your airman doesn't look right, then, and there's the follow-on. And this presenter, I've heard him say it multiple times, say, well, to know if somebody's different or somebody's not right, I actually have to know them.
Right.
And so if you don't have the opportunities to get to know people that you work for and that you work with and that work for you, that's something that we care about, and we want to help provide those opportunities and schedule. And it's not easy.
Right.
It's a hard balance. But 100% mission and 0% people care ain't the right ratio. No. Conversely, all parties, all people care, and no mission is also the wrong answer. And that will slide back and forth depending on where we are and what we're doing and what unit you're in. So I think that's a great put, Chief. Thanks for that. I'm glad you're on my team, and I can tell you, the phrase "look them in the eyeballs and see if they look any different" is very applicable these days, because we spend a lot of time just looking at eyeballs, and she does it better than most. So if you have any questions or need guidance or an idea, Chief D. Ward-Swanigan is a great first contact for that. Let me pivot to two topics. One of them is, I've already highlighted, is from an email that I sent yesterday, morning that was a pile-on to Lieutenant General Schaefer's. And that is, those of you that have heard me speak, either at Change Command or some type of an open forum, or maybe even in this forum, you've heard me talk about 4 combat fronts. Now, that's a colloquialism, right? We are actually fighting, airmen from the 412 Test Wing are actually fighting in combat, literally, as I'm speaking to you right now. And that is one of the combat fronts, creating, developing, increasing the capability for deployed airmen that can deploy today to a combat environment to fight tonight is one of the combat fronts that we are in at Edwards on a daily basis, 365 days a year. A second combat front that all of us are in 24/7, 365, on duty, off duty, at work, not at work, is we are defensive actors or in the fight in cyber. And if you don't think it's a fight in cyber, I've got a long list of things that happen in cyber just over the last few months, let alone the last 3 to 5 years, that I think say that you're wrong, right? We are fighting in cyber. It is a whole of nation effort that we need to have, not just a whole of government or even whole of Air Force. And the fight in cyber applies to you, everybody that you work with, your entire family, to include your children, your subordinates as well. On and off duty. And our adversaries will continue to pick at us in that asymmetric way and continue to pick at you. And our adversaries could be nation states. Our adversaries could be nation state-like things, large transnational criminal organizations. But they could always also just be plain old criminals and thieves. So make yourself less vulnerable by being a good defensive cyber warrior in the fight that is literally happening to us in our second combat front known as cyber. Our third combat front, which added in I call it February 29th, 2020, which was the date of the first U.S. fatality attributed to COVID, is the fight against COVID. I call the time earlier in history than February 29th, 2020 as the before times. I get a little snicker when I say that, but I don't think we're going back. And I've been saying that for quite a while. I don't think we're going back. SARS-CoV-2 in derivative form will be with us for the rest of my lifetime, is my prediction, and likely the rest of humanity. And so we just have to accept that it's endemic. It will be with us forever, just like the flu, just like the cold, and just like other things. And we have to figure out what our new normal looks like and fight to get to that, or fight through the rest of this surge or these surges to establish the new normal. That has drawn a lot of our attention and drawn a lot of our bandwidth, especially with the vaccine mandates the last few weeks. But it is just one of 4 combat pillars we find ourselves in on a daily basis. And the fourth pillar, the fourth fight, the fourth combat front, is the modernization fight. Our mission, our incredibly vital mission here at the Center of the Aerospace Testing Universe, is the test mission, and making sure that America, her allies and partners, daughters and sons of the future, are equipped in the best way possible with an arsenal that is as lethal as possible, as efficient as possible, as cost-effective as possible, and all the other attributes that we want in our military. And that is a worthwhile mission that we all contribute to and that we are all fighting in on a daily basis. General Bunch is very proud of saying that AFMC is the most important MAGCOM to the Air Force. He hasn't said it recently, but I bet he would also say to the Space Force, because of our relationship with the Space Force. And one of the ways that we are that most important is the way that we do test, and we do test here at the 412th and at Dakota 2. So those are the 4 combat fronts. As I look at those combat fronts, mindful of where I was the last 3 weeks at my final professional military education course, we spent a lot of time talking to intel professionals, a lot of time talking to the service chiefs, a lot of time talking to the combatant commanders. I had either 22 or 23 classmates, all 1 and 2 stars, from the Marines, the Coast Guard, the U.S. Navy, the U.S. Army, and the United States Air Force. And the message that I walked in with was amplified, or my understanding of the environment that our nation is operating in on the world stage was amplified by the information presented by the combatant commanders, the intelligence professionals that we spoke with at very high classification levels, and also the military departments. It is a competition. We have primary threats. Those threats are on pace and on par with us in many ways. And we cannot assume that our place as the leader of the world is just going to happen. And so as much as you have heard me pound on the table and talk about competing, I am even more adamant that we need to compete. If you'd like to ask me offline or one-on-one a couple of examples, I'd be happy to give them to you. But folks, it's real, it's really important, and it's most important that you understand just how much our adversaries want to do to us or take from us. And I think it's important that you then talk to your friends, your neighbors, your relatives, your coworkers, and give them or move with them in a matter of urgency. When General Brown says we got to accelerate change or lose, he's not kidding, and we have to accelerate the acceleration of change so that we can continue to stay ahead and then regain in the areas that we're on par with our adversaries and threats. This is a public broadcast in an unclassified forum, so I can't give you more details than that. But I hope you believe me when I tell you I am genuinely attuned and more keenly aware of how vital it is that we do our 4th combat front here at Edwards, the modernization fight, exceptionally well, exceptionally efficient, and with exquisite innovation and talent. To do that, we need to not get bogged down in